Rabbi, and welcome everyone. So today we're going to be starting a new parak, new Mishnah, Brachos Daf Beis. Fresh start, wonderful to see you. So first page, top of the page, it says Beis at the top. Everyone else, why does it start with Daf Beis? We're not going to get into it. But we will ask is, why do you start Shas? Start beginning the whole of Shas, right? So we're trying to get into why did they start with this? What exactly is going on? So the first question is, why you start with a question? Meimasai, when? But when do you start saying Kriya Shema? Meimasai Kairun Eshma Ba'arvin. When do you read Kriya Shema at night? So the Gemara says, why you talk about night? Start with the day. Why do you start with the question? What's going on? Why does the Gemara start with a question? Meimasai. This is not what the Gemara says, but the feeling, I wanted to give over is that Shas learning is all about asking questions. That's the first thing you should know. The first thing Meimasai, when? First thing you know. Always feel free to ask questions. Also in the share, even if I look really stupid, which I do, ask questions. It's better you ask that I look stupid than anyone else looks stupid. I'm happy looking stupid. So, Meimasai Kairun Shema Ba'arvin. When do we start reading Kriya Shema at night? So, first of all, the question is why does the Shas, why did Rabbi Yehuda Nasi put together Shas decide to start talking about Kriya Shema? Why start with Kriya Shema? There's a million other things to start with. And this page, Bika talks about Brachos. So the Rambam says we're starting with Kriya Shema because it's something that's a chiv every single day. There's very little other things you have a chiv every day. Definitely not in Tefillah. You have every day a chiv say Kriya Shema, morning and night. Tefillah you don't say on Shabbos. Maybe Sitzis you're not chayiv if you don't have a full cordon garment. This is a chiv no matter when, where, what. Definitely, as far as Brachos goes, as far as Tefillah goes, this is a chiv you have every day to say Kriya Shema. That's why we start with Kriya Shema. Others want to say it's because it's Omach Shemayim. You have to accept that, before you do any Torah, any mitzvahs, you've got to accept that. Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. That's why we start with Kriya Shema. Others want to say it's because it's the first mitzvah, bar mitzvah boy, come 13. What's the first mitzvah d'oraisa you have? And as soon as nightfall hits, you become 13 at night. Right? So what's the first mitzvah you have? Kriya Shema, straight away. That's why we start with this. It's the first mitzvah that everyone has.
It's the foundation of everything.
Oh, Malchus Shemayim. You can't do anything without the believing, without being maimin. Okay, so says the Mishnah. When do you read Kriya Shema at night? From when the Kohanim come in to eat Truma at Seif Hashmura HaRishayna until the end of the first third of the night. Now, you split the night into, there was 3 Mishmos of the Kohanim. There's 3 parts of the night. The end of the first, it ends by the end of the first third. It starts when the Kohanim eat Truma. When the Kohanim eat Truma, the Gemara is going to say, it says a Chavim when it's nighttime. So why does the Gemara just say nighttime? When the Kohanim eat Truma, just say night. What are you confusing me with Kohanim, getting Kohanim involved? And actually, some of the Chayim discuss why does the Mishnah feel the need to bring a Kohanim, because Kohanim give brachos, and brachos is Shema, and I don't know, the whole Torah is why the Mishnah felt the need to bring the whole thing of Kohanim into the first Mishnah. Well, just say, what?
Time's very long.
Night is very long, and therefore what?
Maybe you want to do it at 3 a.m.
So the question is, first of all, when can you start? The next question is, when do you go till? When do you have to finish by? When's the last you can eat? When's the last time you can say Kriya Shema? So the Kohanim would come in and say Kriya Shema. The Kohanim would come in to eat right at the beginning of the night. 6. That's when they come to eat. That's when they come to eat the Truma, right? So what are we talking about here? Just a little Hagdama. What are we talking about here? We're talking about the Kohanim who were Tomei. They had a Tumah. The Zava, whatever it is, a Tomei from something. Now they go to the mikveh in the day, and as I'm sure you all know, the mikveh, even though they go in at 3 in the morning or 7 in the morning or whatever, but they only become Tahara at night. They don't become Tahara the second they come out of the mikveh. The Tahara only kicks in at night. So they're not allowed to eat Truma to the Zav. Right? So they're only Tahara, they can only eat Truma one nightfall. Hair of Shemesh, when it comes nightfall, that's when they can eat truma. And that's the Gemara is going to say that's the chiddush of the Mishnah. It's telling me two chiddushim. First chiddush is when you say krishma when it becomes dark. And second chiddush is that the Kohanim can eat truma then. Now, why shouldn't they be able? What's happening? They should be able to eat truma because they have to bring a korban the next day. The chiddush is that even though they didn't bring the korban of the next day, they can still eat truma once they've gone to the mikvah. Once it's become nightfall, they can eat truma, even though they have to bring a korban the next day for the kapara to become tahor. So that's the chiddush of that's the secondary chiddush of our Mishnah. The Kohanim can eat truma, but what the Achronim want to know is why are these Kohanim busy eating truma? They should say krishma. this is the time when you say krishma, right? When you say krishma, when the Kohanim eat, what they're eating when they say krishma? How does this work? Right? So if you look, what they're medayik is the lashon doesn't say b'shah shekahanim oichlin truma.
Until they
It says they nichnasim, they're coming into truma. In other words, either sometimes they're outside the town, the mikvah's out of the town, they come in, when they can come back in, or when they're walking in to eat the truma, the wife is preparing the truma for them, she's cooking a nice chulent for them, she doesn't have to say krishma, and he's coming in to eat the truma. And others have been diagram here that the Kohanim can even say krishma when they're walking. They're nichnasim, they're saying krishma, and they're not eating yet. They're walking in to say krishma, they're walking in to have lunch, to have supper. While they're walking in to have supper, at the end of the day, they say krishma. That's why it says nichas elecha b'truma. It doesn't say they're eating truma. So b'shah shekahanim nichas elecha b'truma is very meduyik noloshim. They're not actually eating the truma because they got to say krishma. We'll see. You're not allowed to eat before you say krishma. So how are they eating? You're not allowed to eat before you say krishma. That's like one of the big sugyas over here. So the answer is that they're not eating. They're about to eat. They say krishma, and 10 seconds later they eat. And la halacha, the place the Rishonim say actually that you can't walk when you say the first pasuk. The rest of krishma you're allowed to walk when you say. So if you're running to shul, you've got to say krishma. First pasuk you stop. You're driving, you stop the car, I guess, in the middle of the street, say krishma, then you keep going because it's you have to have like full kavanah in krishma.
Is that with the after the first paragraph or just the shema?
Just the pasuk, just the first pasuk.
The first pasuk. Okay.
We're going to see there's a big machlokes. We might as well mention now that you've mentioned it. Now you brought it up. What is the chiyuv to say krishma? Is it deraisa? Is it derabanan? So l'chayra everyone thinks it's a chiyuv deraisa, and that's how almost all the Rishonim paskins chiyuv deraisa happens to be a machlokes amoraim if it's deraisa derabanan. And Taisus and Menachos paskins that is derabanan, but everyone else says it's deraisa. All the other Rishonim, l'chayra Taisus is also saying it's deraisa. Taisus and Menachos is much as derabanan. So if it's derabanan, what do you do in the pasuk? You got a pasuk, the shaf called mecha. So the pasuk, if he takes us and if he that sheet in the Gemara, Shmuel, if I remember correctly, the Riddah of Shmuel, that sheet that says B'Shafcha Mecha is talking about Talmud Torah. Talmud Torah is a chiyuv morning and evening. Krishma is the Rabbanan. They said say Krishma. We paskins the Raisa, so you have to say Krishma every day the Raisa. But you should know it's machlokes. If you ever missed it, it's a Rabbanan according to some sheet. As long as you're learning Torah, I'm sure you're learning Torah morning and evening. You got yourself covered. You covered all bases. The question is what's the Raisa? What do you have to say? This is your kasha. So there's the Gemara is mashma in one place, and it's mashma l'chayra, maybe just the first pasuk, Shema Yisrael Hashem Hashem Echad, and other Rishonim in the Rashba, that's Meduik and Rashi also, that the whole first chapter, V'haya, other Rishonim say with the second chapter also, first two chapters, and Achronim come along and say B'chadash and the Shagasari passing like this, all three parshas d'oraisa. And Mishnah Berurah says when you say Krishma, you should say all three parshas. That's how the Mishnah Berurah says. You should try and be machmed, say all three parshas when you say Krishma, you kind of d'oraisa. But the Rishonim l'chayr says the parshas of the Gemara is Rashi before, you're going to see in a second, first chapter is d'oraisa. The rest is d'rabbanan. Okay, so let's see the Mishnah. Until the end of the first third. Divrei Rabbi Elazar. The Chum say you've got till Chatzais. So the Chum agree. It starts with Seis and it ends Chatzais, the middle of the night, smack in the middle. You don't have the first third. You got another, whatever it is, another
2 hours. 3 hours.
Yeah, another couple of hours to Chatzais. You can say Krishma till Amud Shachar till the morning. Amud Shachar is it's a machlokes if it's 72 minutes or 90 minutes before Nates. So you've got That's the machlokes. But basically, Amud Hashachar, till the first sparkles of light come from the sun, the first the tzaitzes of light, literally it means Amud Hashachar. The sunshine starts rising, starts seeing something. So Maaseh Ubo Bonav Beis Hamishta. Maybe this is the reason why this is the first Mishnah Shas. The story happened that his kids came from the Beis Hamishta. They went to a party. They came back. Okay, Chas v'shalom say such a thing, about the Rosh Yeshiva's kids nowadays. They came back from the Beis Hamishta. He could have said they came back from the Chas. It doesn't. They came back from the Beis Hamishta, right? Why is it about the Beis Hamishta? Amar Lai, like Renu Shema. He said, hey, we didn't say Kriya Shema yet. I don't know what he was doing up still. Amar Lahemim, Lo Ya'allah, Amud Hashachar. If it's not yet Amud Hashachar, 72 minutes before Nates, Chayav and Matan Likros, you mechuyev to read.
So nowadays, if they were coming back from this Mishnah, they wouldn't be worried about saying Shema, probably.
V'leizu b'vad. Now he says, V'leizu b'vad omu. Not only this, Ella. Kol ma she'o b'chom ad chatzais. When Chacham say you've got till chatzais, there's no biblical time till chatzais. There's never a chiyuv to say anything till chatzais. Right? To do anything till chatzais. Anything that says till chatzais, Kol ma she'o b'chom ad chatzais, mitzvason ad shi'ala Amud Hashachar. The mitzvah is really till Alois HaShachar.
So why did it say chatzais then?
So we're going to see. Good kasha. For example, hekter chalovim eivorim mitzvos shi'ala Amud Hashachar, to sacrifice the chalev and the eivorim. Yet the mitzvah is till Amud Hashachar, till the next day. Anything you have to eat that day, any carbon that the chiv is to eat today. When does the day end? Amud Hashachar. If that's true, you've got till Amud Hashachar, till the wee hours of the morning. So why did they say to chatzais? Kedei laharchik odo min aveira. To make sure you don't do an aveira, you don't accidentally forget. You've got the chatzais, and you get it done by chatzais. If you go to Amud Hashachar, you go to sleep, you wake up early, you think you'll say that, you oversleep, or whatever, you come back late, you end up missing. Happens all the time, right?
Are we talking about like saying Shema at Ma'ariv?
Yeah. Saying Shema at Ma'ariv, you've got till Alois HaShachar. After Alois HaShachar, you can say Kriya Shema, wait till Alois, then say Shachar Kriya Shema. Right?
The next day.
That's right, the next day. So that's basically when that's when the night ends, Alois HaShachar. We're going to see that really, we hold, and there's no one that's chaylik on this in the Gemara, that the night comes before the day. Naturally, you're awake in the day, and then you stay awake at night. But I guess maybe, in those days it was also like that. You first have the night, and then the day. That's how it is in Torah, right? The night is the day is part of the previous night, and that's what we're going to see. That's why we're starting the Mishnah. Why are you starting the Mishnah with night? It's dark. It's bitter. It's scary. Why you start with night? Start with the day. Start with the day. Why? Because that's the beginning of the day. That's the beginning. The day starts at night. Okay, so
one second. You have a separate chiyuv during the day and the night.
Yeah. Well, you have a mitzvah day, mitzvah night. Yeah.
So
it's two mitzvahs.
Okay. I don't understand the question.
No, I'm just explaining why we're starting with the Mishnah at night as opposed to starting. The Mishnah could have said, why are you starting with the night? That's the Rishonim asked the question. The Gemara we're going to see discusses it. Why are you starting with the night? Because the night comes before the day.
Right.
That's the malach. Okay, so it says let's see Rashi. We're going to see less Gemara, more Rashi and Taisus because it's very fundamental. We're going to do a little bit more of a deep dive than usual. So it says Rashi. The Kohanim were Tomei. And they went to the mikvah, and then it became nightfall. Now they're allowed to eat truma at nightfall. So that's when you can say Kriya Shema from nightfall. So ad Seifa Shmoyos Harishayna. This is the heart of the sugya, this Rashi. Ad Seifa Shmoyos Harishayna, till the end of the first third. So Shlish Halayla, first third of the night. Now the night's 12 hours. You got 4 hours to say Kriya Shema. 4 hours is the first third. 4 hours second third. 4 hours middle third. After the first third of a Zman Delay Mikri. If you wait until after the first 4 hours, that's no longer called Zman Shchiva. Meaning what? That's not a time people go to sleep. The pasuk says b'shach chav kamecha. So what does it mean b'shach chav? The time that people go to sleep. When do people go to sleep? The beginning of that. No one goes to sleep. Normal people don't normally go to sleep at 2 a.m. They go to sleep at the beginning of the night. Maybe nowadays because of electricity, you go to sleep at midnight, right? There used to be, if you weren't normal people, were in bed the first third of the night. You stayed up 4 hours in the pitch black, great. Now you're in bed, right? So what's the machlokes whether you have the whole night or just the first third? So Rashi's explaining. The reason why you have till the first third is that's where people go to bed. The other sheet is, why do you have the whole night? Because b'shachar doesn't mean when you go to bed, it means when you're sleeping. The time when people sleep, but people sleep the whole night. Therefore, if in that sheet you have the whole night to say Kriya Shema. That's the machlokes, and it comes on the Chacham sheet that says, you got the chatzais, in case you missed the whole night. But really, Mikadin, when can you say Kriya Shema? You got the whole night. In that case, basically, B'v Kumecha, what would that mean? You can say Kriya Shema the whole day. If you that sheet up. When people are awake, say Kriya Shema. Or is it when people wake up? When do people wake up? The beginning of the day. People don't wake up at 6 in the afternoon. They wake up. The first 3-4 hours of the day, that's when people wake up. Okay. Says the Rashi, let's keep bugging Rashi. Fascinating Rashi. Misham Va'elak, Rashi says, that's no longer called b'shachcha, where people go to sleep. Before nightfall, lazman shchiva. People don't go to sleep in the middle of the day. I try to put my kids to sleep then, but people don't go to sleep then. If you read Kriya Shema when it's still light outside, you're not Yaitza. It's all very nice. It's a mitzvah to read Pasuk in the Torah. That's not Kriya Shema. It sounds like it's not controversial. We'll see very soon that it is a very controversial statement. If that's true, Lama Karanais and Beis HaKnesses, why did people read Kriya Shema in Shul? They used to, the minig in the whole world was the daven Kriya Shema, the daven Ma'ariv in the day. The daven Mincha, and straight away the daven Ma'ariv, the people shouldn't go home and miss Ma'ariv. So everyone said Kriya Shema in the day. That was the minig. That was what everyone did. They read the daven Ma'ariv in the day. So Rashi says, why are you reading Kriya Shema in the day? You're not yet to anything. I just said you're not yet to Kriya Shema unless it's nightfall. B'shachcha. Why are we reading Kriya Shema in Shul? Lama Karina is basic classes. Rashi answers, I'll tell you why. Kedei lamaid betfila betechti betayra. Chachamim wanting to start davening Ma'ariv from learning Torah. Shema is Torah. It's also Sukkim in the Torah. For whatever reason, learn some Torah and then daven Ma'ariv. That's why we read Kriya Shema in Shul. Kedei lama betfila betech Torah. Your tefillah that comes from Torah is a better tefillah. It's a different tefillah than davening without Torah. And it's also a Gemara in Yerushalmi. Don't think I'm making this up. Now Rashi throws in a very important Yosayte. You know what you have to read? You only need the first parsha. You don't need to say the whole thing. A guy's in bed, he reads the first parsha, not the first pasuk. First parsha, Shema and Va'afta. That you get to the Chiv Daraisa of Kriya Shema. Rashi, take a look at Taisus. Me'em Esakayrim. Let's skip because we're on the clock here. Taisus starts asking questions from the first narrow line. Vim came. Lama onim ispalim Kriya Shema bebeis HaKnesses k'dei lama betfila b'teich divrei. That's what Rashi says. Tema. Second narrow line. Question. People only say the first parsha. Why don't they say the whole thing? He should say all three. So the answer to the Rishonim say in Rashi, the answer is Rishonim come and try and explain Rashi. They say Rashi holds that only the first parsha is Daraisa. That's why people always say.
Why are you saying the first parsha?
Huh?
Who's only saying the first parsha?
That was a minute, guys. It's Mufurish. Rashi says that was a minute. Only say the first parsha. We'll see. If you don't hold like Rashi, you hold like the other Rishonim, you say you need to say all three. Maybe that's why people say more. But if you Rashi, the reason that's not a kasha. Rashi says you yotze with the first parsha. The Chiv Daraisa is the first parsha. The Shakas Aryeh says, what's the kasha here? Or it's his own kasha. If the Chacham said you have to say all three, I don't care if the first parsha is Daraisa. Chacham said mitzvah Kriya Shema is all three parshas. So say all three. Why do people, you know, it's the Rabbanon. But you don't like Hanukkah candles. You don't, here's Megillah. Chum said you have to say all 3 parshas, right? And if you only Mekayim in bed at night, so why are you saying all 3? Why are you just being answered one? You're the Doraisa. So what some want to explain is that, what Rashi means is that, of course you should try and say it when it comes night, say all 3. And but the evidence, if you forgot, you at least get to the Doraisa with the first one. But if you know that you never said it, you know you didn't say Krishma, then you're sure you should say all 3. Others want to say, the Shakasari has a complicated cheshbon that he wants to say that basically people will see in Taisus a little bit of a remiss of this, that you could be Yetz even during the day Krishma. The Deraisa, the Chacham's Krishma, Yetz during the day. Or what we call during the day, but it's really at night according to the Shita of Rabbi Yehuda. We're going to see in a second what Rabbi Yehuda's Shita is. Rabbi Yehuda says you can say Krishma even during the day, when it's light. And that's called night. Right? After Plaga Mincha. So the Darabanan you Yetzer from Plaga Mincha. But the Raisa to be Yetzer, the other Shitas, not Rabbi Yehuda, say Krishma Alamita to be Yetzer the other Shitas when Mama's night. Okay, let's keep going at Taisus. So Taisus asks another kasha. Vim Ketchal V'ay kasha the Tzarech Levarach b'Kriya Shema. Brichos b'Kriya Shema. Shtayim lefnei v'shtayim lechayim ba'arvis. When you say Brichos Kriya Shema in bed, you don't say Brichos Kriya Shema, you just say Shema, right? You got to say the Brachos. Where the Brachos go? So Rishonim answer is talking about, but yeah, but you Yetzer without Brachos. You don't need Brachos to be Yetzer because Brachos is a nice thing, it's beautiful, but you Yetzer the mitzvah deraisa without Brachos. Chachamim is sucking the Brachos. So Taisa seems to be asking again, Darabana. You're not Yetzer the Darabana. You're not doing it like Tikkun Darabana. But yeah, but you Yetzer. Next kasha. V'aid. It says later on Daf Hey, why do you say Krishma in bed? Mazikin. You shouldn't have bad dreams. You shouldn't be attacked by, I don't know what. Demons. I don't know what else is attacking you at night. Or maybe it means, Goyim. You say Krishma protects you. Torah protects you. Shema protects you. You're not doing it because of the mitzvah Krishma. The Gemara says you're doing it because of Mazikin. So we're showing the answer in Rashi. That's talking about a guy who already said Krishma. If you already said Krishma, so why should I say it again? Say it for the Mazikin. Right? But you should say it for the mitzvah. If you didn't do it yet, do it for the mitzvah. Right? Sorry, Void Kasha. Next Kasha. There's a machlokes we're going to see later on. Rabbi Shua Leib and Rabbi Yechanan. The Amud Tfilis be'emetz tiknum. Pirish be'emetz bei shnei Kriya Shema. Bei Kriya Shabbos, bei Kriya Shabbos. It's a machlokes. You say you daven. You say Shema in the morning. Shemona Esra, then Shema. Now the two Shemona Esras are between the two Shmas, or you say Shema Shemona Esra, Shema Shemona Esra. Right? And if according to Rashi you say Shema at night, that's a mitzvah deraisa. So that's how we pass like Rabbi Shua ben Levi, who holds, you say Shema, Shemona Esra, Shema. In other words, the Shemona Esras are like surrounded by the Bishma. That's how Rashi paskins, l'chayra, right? Shema in the morning, Shachris, Ma'ariv, Shema at night. And we paskin like Rabbi Yechanan, that you're supposed to do a smichas gula tefillah. That means you daven Ma'ariv after you say Kriya Shema. So that's his last kasha. Mm-hmm. So it turns out we're passing like Rabbi Shua ben Levi. We passing like Rabbi Yechanan. Therefore, so Rabbeinu Tam says no. Of course, the Krishma and Shul, that's the Ikka. So why are we saying I'll say it outside because we're running short on time? So if the Shul Ma'ariv we say in the Shul is the Ikka, it's not night. Our Mishnah says. How are we davening Krishma in the Chabad Shul? It's bright and sunny outside, right? You can still pan, and you want to go in the middle of the day. How you eat Krishma? Rabbeinu says that's the Ikka. It can't be like Rashi, you Krishma Lamita. There's no Brachos. You don't say the whole thing, and that's for Mazikim. Talmidei Chacham don't have to say B'chal because they're not worried about Mazikim, right? And it turns out, if you that, you pass it like Shubalever, we pass it like Rebbe always. So the answer
That's
is,
my question. I can down early Shabbos or whatever. I mean, the answer is very partial, but
hold on, we'll get to it maybe soon, hold on. So, let's just, how does Rebbe Tam understand? So, tells us there's a machlokes. When is nightfall? Is nightfall Tzeis Kachavim? That's how our mission goes. And there's a Shita of Yehuda that says from Plaga Mincha, an hour and 15 minutes before Shkiyas Achama is the time called Plaga Mincha, middle of the day, whatever that means. And from then it's Ma'ariv. So you could daven according to Rebbe Yehuda, you could daven Mincha till Plaga Mincha, and after then you could daven Ma'ariv. And that's how we pass him. So if you could daven Ma'ariv, then it means you could daven Ma'ariv with Kriyishma. That's night. You're right. The first Mishnah Shas, we don't pass him like it. According to Taisus, we pass him like Rabbi Yehuda. You could daven Ma'ariv with Kriyishma. Darayas. You don't have to say it on your bed afterwards. You daven in the Chabad Minyan, Kriyishma, way before Shkia, and you're good. You got your bases covered. You're kind of mitzvah for Rabbi Yehuda. Then Taisus asks, how could that be? Because we know people daven until Shkia. So it's like, is it night or is it day? The hour and 15 minutes before Shkia, is it night or is it day? You could have a mincha on one hand, but you could have a ma'ariv. Well, what is it? So he says, David Kama'ava, you could do like this, you could do like that. It's all good. I think you shouldn't be doing both at the same time. There's Mashmais and Mishabura, it's like a stira, but it's two different machlekasim, whether you could have a mincha till Shkia, whether you could have, when you can start having ma'ariv. Turns out, says Taisus, David Kama'ava, no kasha. It's not considered the stira. If you do sometimes like this, sometimes like that. Okay, it's 9 o'clock, I don't want to go off the time, but let's just start very quickly, one line in Gemara, that we should at least say we started on the Gemara shtickle, right? Says the Gemara. Tanei Guy, where's this Mishnah coming from? He starts B'Amosai. First tell me you have to say Kriyishma. The Ritva says, the Kasha says, tell me you have to say Kriyishma. I say from when? From when do you say Kriyishma? It's like, what are you doing? Tanei Guy, the Tanei B'Amosai. Besu, Ma'ishna the Tani Ba'av is Bereisha. Listen to Shachas Bereisha. Why did you start with Ma'ariv? Start with Shachas. So the Gemara answers Tana Krokai. The Tana is coming from the pasuk. Everyone just read the pasuk. B'Shachov Kumecha T'Ksiv. B'Shachov Kumecha. V'Achitani Zman Kriyishma T'Shchiva. Amos. The Gemara wants to know when is Kriyishma of nighttime. Okay, I really don't want to go over the time of the chakras. So we'll end today. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Have a wonderful day.